This is NDTV. And you're watching NDTV Hindu.
Opposition parties withdraw dharna after holding up the assembly proceedings for 2 hours, demanding that suspension orders given to 9 MLAs be revoked.
உடனடியாக திரும்ப பெற வேண்டும் என்று வலியுறுத்தி நாங்கள் வெளியிடப்பு செய்திருக்கிறோம்.
AIADMK has learnt from its previous mistakes, will have an alliance with smaller parties, says Joe Ramaswamy.
The alliance, the strength of the alliance is going to be the deciding factor.
Now this is no joke. Look at how a prisoner is actually being taken to court from a police station. 2G licenses given by A. Raja be cancelled. Supreme Court issues notice to Centre, Tri and 11 telecom companies.
Some of us have sought the cancellation of licenses allotted by Mr. Raja on 10th January 2008.
And Jayasuriya will now be playing in Chennai's Maiden Super Sixes tournament. Good evening, you're watching the news tonight with me, Divya. Let's also bring you the news making national headlines. Onion traders call off strike in Nashik after prices in the market fall. The Congress does an opposition number in the Karnataka Assembly, demands a discussion on corruption. The big chill sweeps North India. The maximum temperature in Delhi hits a 20-year low. India's first flight combat aircraft Tejas is inducted into the Indian Air Force. And after no one bid for Saurav Ganguly, Shah Rukh Khan says he'll speak to him to be Kolkata Knight Riders' mentor. Well, the weekend break does not appear to have helped our MLAs. Today, they continued from where they left off on Friday, shouting, protesting, while generally disrupting proceedings following suspension of 9 MLAs on day 2 of the current assembly session. Our reporter Shabir Ahmed tells us more.
A mock assembly staged by protesting opposition party MLAs outside the hallowed ground. That is where things headed on day 2 of the assembly session after they had raised a ruckus on Friday.
அதிமுக உறுப்பினர்கள் 9 பேரையும் இந்த அவையிலிருந்தும் சட்டப்பேரவை உறுப்பினர்கள் உரிமை செயல்பாடுகள் அனைத்திலிருந்தும் இப்பேரவை கூட்டத்தொடர் முழுவதும் நீக்கி வைக்கப்படுகிறார்கள்.
The minute the speaker ordered suspension of the 9 MLAs for their unruly behavior on Friday, for the rest of the session, it was chaos hour once again. Furious AIADMK, MDMK and left parties staged a dramatic walkout.
இந்த ஜனநாயகத்துடைய குரல் வலையை நசுக்குவது மட்டுமல்ல, ஜனநாயகத்திற்கே இன்று கேள்விக்குறியாக இருந்து கொண்டிருக்கிற இனிமேல் தமிழகத்தில் தலை தூக்க முடியாத திராவிட முன்னேற்றக் கழகம் இதை செய்து கொண்டிருக்கிறது.
மக்களினுடைய பிரச்சனைகளை சொல்லக்கூடாது என்று ஜனநாயகத்தினுடைய குரல் வலையை நெரிப்பதற்குரிய செயலாக மார்க்சிய கம்யூனிஸ்ட் கட்சி கருதுகின்றது.
But the drama did not end there. The opposition members engaged in a heated argument with the ruling party and the speaker demanding that the suspension be revoked.
மிகவும் அதிகமாக தெரிகிறது.
As the speaker rejected their claims, the house witnessed yet another dramatic walkout by the entire opposition. That later transformed into a dharna outside the assembly, which is when the mock assembly was staged, with guns trained on the speaker and the ruling party members, a scene that the DMK had indulged in 5 years ago. The standoff lasted 2 hours before efforts by police to pacify them succeeded. But only conditionally, the dharna has been withdrawn, but the demand for reversing the suspension remains.
நாளை என்ன முடிவுகள் மேற்கொள்கிறார்களோ அதற்கேற்ப நாங்கள் எங்களுடைய நடவடிக்கை இருக்கும் என்பதையும்
நடவடிக்கை எடுத்ததை சட்டமன்ற உறுப்பினர்கள் மீது எடுக்கப்பட்டிருக்கிற நடவடிக்கையை இன்றைய தினமே உடனடியாக வாபஸ் பெற வேண்டும்.
Ahead of the elections, this assembly session was expected to be a difficult session with critical issues debated hard and long. But with the entire opposition up in arms against the suspension of 9 MLAs, will the rest of assembly session witness high drama or will it be back to business? In Chennai with reporter Shabir Ahmed, Lokpriya, NDTV Hindu.
Well, a day after the DMDK made overtures to the AIADMK at the party's massive rally in Salem, political analyst Cho Ramaswamy says forging alliances will be the clincher in the upcoming assembly elections. He tells my colleague Bama Ravi that the AIADMK has learnt its lessons on alliance politics. Watch this exclusive interview.
Vijaykanth has said that no alliance can win the elections without the support of the DMDK. Do you think this confidence is justified?
Well, such claims have to be made from a political platform. Usually Ramdas used to make it, and even some smaller parties with a much less percentage of votes, they make that claim. You see, to enthuse the cadres, some such things have to be said. It doesn't mean that it is being taken seriously by the speaker himself.
How challenging is it going to be for Vijaykanth to negotiate with Amma for seats for himself?
No, I don't think that if you are asking me whether DMDK can win by itself, it cannot. But they have this vote, this 8 to 10% vote, and it does count.
You know, Vijaykanth has also called other opposition parties to ally against the DMK and join forces. Now, doesn't this mean less number of seats for his party? Last time he went it alone and he won some 8%, a little more than 8%. Do you think he has enough skills to negotiate with Jayalalitha?
Well, both of them need each other. The ADMK would do well to strike an alliance with Vijaykanth, because otherwise the opposition vote will be divided. And Vijaykanth does not have enough votes to win seats by himself. He needs a bigger party. He has to go with a bigger party. It cannot be the DMK. The Congress will not do it now. I don't know whether it is a bigger party at all in terms of vote. But anyway, it doesn't seem to be breaking the alliance with the DMK. So he is left only with the ADMK. So he has to opt for it. Otherwise, he will not be able to improve his presence in the assembly.
But you know, he has also called for other opposition parties to ally with the AIADMK.
Well, the other parties are much smaller parties. There will be only 1 seat, 2 seat parties. So perhaps it will help in various pockets. Okay. That's all. He would not stand to lose by that. I am not very aware as to his negotiating skills. That will all depend on the necessity which the two parties face. And in my opinion, both of them need each other now.
Will the spectrum scam continue to be a big issue? It continues to be today. Will it continue to be a big issue right up to the elections? Will it be a clincher?
The country has not heard of a scandal which is of this proportion.
Yes.
The spectrum proportion.
Yes.
It is a real spectrum in the sense that it has several wavelengths to it.
Yes.
So naturally, I think this will have it will have an impact.
You know, the DMK has invested a lot of money and effort in many welfare schemes. Even in the last elections, its pre-poll promises turned out to be the clincher. What do you think the DMK has up its sleeve this time round?
No, the last election, what mattered was the alliance. This time, if Jayalalitha has the Vijaykanth's party with her, and also the Congress has become somewhat suspect as an ally. There is a lot of bad blood running between the Congress and the DMK, and within the DMK itself.
You know, DMK made, interestingly, DMK made inroads into traditional ADMK bastions such as Sivaganga and Thoothukudi in the last elections. And of course, AIADMK also wrested a number of seats from the city. What do you think is going to be the clincher? What is going to be the deciding factor in the elections that are coming up now?
As the strength of looking at the strength of the two alliances, if Jayalalitha gets Vijaykanth's party along with her, hers will have an edge over the DMK Congress alliance, because both of them have lost votes terribly. Both the DMK and the Congress have lost votes between the last election and now. The alliance, the strength of the alliance is going to be the deciding factor, and I think the ADMK will mop up the various smaller parties. Last time they didn't do it in the south. That is why the DMK was able to make inroads in the south. The smaller parties helped the DMK win by dividing the opposition vote. This time I think the ADMK has learned its lesson, and it may not repeat it. So it will have several parties in its alliance, and that will help.
And still ahead on the bulletin, what is real and what is real? It's a buddy whale comedy taken too seriously for Achanepalli stream it.